It is the story of NPAs or non-performing assets. It claimed headlines for many, many years. India was supposed to be in the middle of its worst NPA crisis in history. So many bad debts of banks, so many loans that banks gave out and they didn't get it back. That made us worried about both public sector banks and private sector banks. But it looks like India has finally emerged out of that NPA crisis, and that's because the net NPAs of banks in India fell to just 3.9% of their deposits. Kartik, fantastic news, isn't it? The fact that, we were worried about how, because India's banking system is both our pride and glory, at the same time our oxygen. We don't want anything, as we're proud about our banking system, we don't want anything going wrong fundamentally with it. And the NPA crisis was threatening to take India's banking system apart. Looks like we've done all the right things and emerged stronger out of it.
Totally. So I think at 3.9%, we are at a decadal low.
Yeah.
And remember the crisis, NPA crisis that we were faced with when, and we've had tremendous examples, mammoth examples of bad loans, right? Let's not name those guys anymore who evaded with thousands of crores of rupees and are not even in the country right now. But the fact of the matter is that, RBI had taken this mission upon itself that we are going to clean up bank books. We need to ensure that our NPA ratios fall drastically, and we need to ensure that there is enough trust in the system when it comes to both consumers as well as the international folks transacting through Indian banks, and assure them that the Indian banking system is not just safe but becomes robust. And I think this figure coming down to a historic low of 3.9% is absolutely a great chip on the shoulder of the RBI and of all the banks which have been able to partake in this journey. But while we look at the plus side of NPAs, I have a slightly differing point of view when it comes to India's SME sector, where chances of default are high. Now, because of this mandate to go after NPAs and use discretion at the bank board's level to disburse or not disburse loans, banks, to my mind, and what some industry, SME sources have also told me, is that banks are playing it really safe. And days of easier money, it was never easy for SMEs, but easier money for SMEs to go and take a loan to inject back into their organization to grow, those days seem to be over. And as a result of which, small and medium enterprises are now going after NBFCs or other private lenders and taking this capital at a much higher cost. So the cost of capital and hence the cost of doing business for small and medium enterprises has gone up. And the vibrancy of the MSME sector as a result of these high interest rates has reduced significantly. Add to this, 3 days ago, you and I were discussing yet another story of credit agencies, CIBIL, etc., sort of not being able to upkeep accurate records of members. Now, are we still looking at a risk scenario where undeserving, non-credit worthy individuals are getting bigger loans and the deserving guys are being dropped out? So that could be another concern which the RBI is addressing by way of fines to begin with. But I think while we celebrate the NPA reduction story, we've got to be cognizant of the fact that this should not come on the back of just making bank books look prettier and greener, and as a result of which thwarting the growth potential of India's MSME sector.
Right. Very important point to note. MSMEs contribute 30% to India's GDP, and them not getting easy access to credit is a huge problem. We need to be aware of that and be conscious that it doesn't get any worse for them. But what I'm happy about is that when there's so much of stories of bank collapses happening in the US from Silicon Valley Bank and so many things, here we are, Indian banking system, emerging stronger from a crisis that it faced before. Yes, the pitfalls of it need to be kept in mind. India's MSME and SMEs need to be protected